Okay, lovely, 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 lovely. Well, yes, so welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay. For those of you who joined us last week and experienced the wonderful, wonderful uh, pleasures of technology when everything goes wrong, thank you for joining us again. Appreciate it. But we fixed it as you can see. So you can hear me, you can see me, which is brilliant. Right. So we're gonna jump straight into it. Okay. So last week I posted about, that article, the one, schools in the Western Cape, Cape Town, best run city in South Africa, being shaken down by mafias for protection fees. Teachers told to pay or face the consequences. Classes cancelled, and most of you reacted with outrage, anger, disgust even. How is this allowed? But I want to ask a different question today. Not how is this allowed, but why does it keep working? Because here's the thing, the criminals aren't winning because they're powerful. They're winning because the response system is broken. And until we're honest about that, we're just going to keep being shocked by the same headline over and over again. Now, stick with me, okay? Because by the end of this, I want to see if you see what I see. Okay, so what does the article actually say? So here's what happened. Zanimfundo Primary School, okay, Philippi East, Cape Town. Teachers were told to hand over 10% of their monthly salaries for protection from known criminals, people the teachers recognize, people the community recognizes. The teachers were too scared to go to work. Classes were cancelled. They reported it to the police, and the response almost nothing. Now, SAPS acknowledged that extortion at schools is being investigated, but they won't name the schools, won't name the suspects. Meanwhile, the perpetrators are walking around the community freely because everyone knows who they are, but nobody's stopping them. And here's the thing, it's not just Cape Town. The teachers union says that it's happening across multiple provinces. It's largely underground because people are afraid to speak up. Now, Cape Town, the only metro in South Africa with a clean audit, 3 years running, the gold standard of governance on this continent that I'm on right now. Even here, schools are paying gangsters to leave them alone. So what does that tell you? It tells you that clean governance and responsive safety are not the same thing. Look, you can have excellent financial management and still have a community that feels completely unprotected the moment that danger arrives. Because safety, I mean, real immediate safety, doesn't depend on an audit report. It depends on response time, on who shows up and how fast. In South Africa or Southern Africa, we've built our entire safety architecture around a model that is fundamentally slow. You basically call a number, it routes you through a call center, with dispatch goes out, a vehicle drives from wherever it is. It could be 10 minutes, could be 30. In an emergency, that gap is everything. And criminal networks have figured this out. They operate in that gap, in the space between when something happens and when help arrives. It's their territory. That's where extortion lives. That's where intimidation works because in that window, you're on your own. The teachers at Zanamfunda aren't paying because the police don't care. Some of them do. They're paying because by the time help could arrive, the damage would already be done. And they know it. So here's my question. What if we close the gap? Here's something that we don't talk about enough, right? In most South African neighborhoods, in fact, in most neighborhoods anywhere, the people most likely to help you in an emergency are not the police, right? They're not a private security guard who's driving past. They're your neighbors, person two doors down, the guy who runs the corner shop, the woman who walks her dog every morning. These people are already there. They're on your street, already on your school road, already at the gate drop off. Problem has never been that community doesn't want to help. The problem is that there's been no mechanism to activate them, no signal, no coordination, no way for a person in danger to instantly reach the 10 people closest to them, rather than a call center that's 30 minutes away. That's the gap. And it's a solvable problem. That's exactly the gap LekkerClap was actually built to close. Now, LekkerClap is a community powered SOS app. One tap, and we instantly trigger a loud siren on the phones of everyone in your neighborhood group. So your precise GPS location is shared in real time. A live mesh map will show where your people are, where they're moving. So responders, one can see exactly where you are and who's already on their way. No call center, no dispatch queue, no waiting on hold. The people already around you, they become your first line of response. The moment that you need them most critically. Communities can create private neighborhoods groups, and every incident then generates basically time-stamped audit trails and a record of exactly what happened, when, and who responded. That's the kind of accountability that communities currently have no way to produce on their own. Now, think about Philippi East, those teachers. What if that group was in a LekkerClap neighborhood? What if the moment someone showed up at the gate making demands, a siren went off on 30 phones within 100 meters? What if the principal could tap just once and the whole street knew in seconds? These organizations work because they operate in silence, in isolations. And I'm talking about the criminal organizations. One person alone facing a threat, right, with no way to call the community to them in that moment. LekkerClap breaks that silence instantly, loudly, together. You tap once and your whole community responds. Look, I'm not here to sell you anything today. I want you to try it. Download it, set up your neighborhood group, add 5 people on your street, and feel what it feels like to know that if something happened right now, they'd know in seconds. Because, guys, the goal here isn't to have an app on your phone. The goal is to change how your neighborhood feels, to go from being isolated to connected, from vulnerable to visible. If you're a parent at a school, a principal, a teacher, or someone who's looked at the street and thought, if something happened now, who would actually come? I want to hear from you. Drop it in the comments or DM me directly. We built LekkerClap for real people in real moments of need, not the version of safety that arrives 30 minutes later, but for the version that's already outside your door. Look, the link's already in the bio. Go to our website, www.lekkerclap.com. Download it. Tell your neighbors, let's build this together. And please drop it in the comments, okay? What would it have meant, right, for your community to have had something like this? I genuinely want to know.